Hey, I just want to actually apologize for the inconsistency of the size of the font. I just really wanted to squeeze this all into one video over here to be able to display all the problems. But maybe by now you're actually kind of seeing, hey, you know what? These are actually a little bit more complex. We have more units that we're going to be dealing with. So our method on doing this is going to be the exact same now. I'm just going to write out the first problem, and once again, the problem number 9 and problem number 11 we're going to be doing together, and then problem 10 and problem 12 I encourage you to actually do that on your own. So the first problem over here, or actually problem number 9, I'm just going to rewrite this. And so this problem over here, it's saying let's go from miles per hour to kilometers per second. So we have 8 miles per hour, or just per 1 hour, and we're going to convert this to kilometers per second. I'm just going to write this over here, kilometers per second. Okay, so what we're going to do with this problem is let's come up with a little strategy. Let's first convert the units from miles to kilometers, and then we're going to convert our units from hours to second. So that's going to be our strategy. We're just going to do this first and then second, and then we're going to be done with our problem. Okay, so, hey, you know what? Have you ever thought about this before? What does 8 miles per hour actually mean? Have you ever thought about that? Okay, well, you have 8 miles, which is a distance, over a certain amount of time, which is 1 hour. So it's 8 miles per hour. If you were traveling at this rate, at this speed for 1 hour, how many miles would you go? Oh, 8 miles. Okay, so that's what the definition of 8 miles per hour actually means. Hey, you know what? Say if you actually have a speed of, let's say, 25 miles per hour. In 1 hour, if you're going at that speed, how many miles will you travel? You'll travel 25 miles. That's by definition what it actually means. All right, so if you are going 8 miles per hour for, let's call it, so the speed of 8 miles per hour for 2 hours, how many miles do you travel? If you're going at that speed for 2 hours, you will travel 16 miles. That's by definition actually what it means. So anyway, let's get back into this problem and just focus on that. So like I said before, we're going to be converting from miles to kilometers, and then from hours to seconds. That's what our strategy is. So we're going to be converting and following the exact same method that we were doing before. So we have miles on top over here. We're going to be converting to miles on the bottom over here. And looking through our facts over here, hopefully you're actually saying by now, recognizing that that's the only fact that we actually do have dealing with miles. So we're going to be using that. And once again, we're going to be really focusing on the idea that we're going to be converting to kilometers per second. Okay, so we have how many miles? It's 1 mile is equal to what? 5,280 feet. Oh, 80 feet. Our units here cancel out, leaving us with feet per hour. That's what we have. We have our feet and we have our hour. Those are the 2 units that we're left with. We don't want feet per hour. We want kilometers per second. So just dealing with our kilometers first, we have feet. Okay, so we know that we're not done yet. Okay, so let's look at this over here. We have feet in inches, feet in yards, feet in meters. So if we want to go from feet to kilometers, it probably makes a lot of sense for us to actually go from feet to meters first. So we have our feet down here, and how many feet is it? It's 3.28 feet is equal to 1 meter. Once again, we don't want meters, we want kilometers. So looking at this once again, what has to do with meters? We have meters over here, meters, meters, meters. The one that has to do with kilometers is this one. So that would actually make sense that we're using that. And how many meters is it? It's 1,000 meters is equal to 1 kilometer. Our units cancel out. Once again, the idea that we want our kilometers. So our goal is to actually get to kilometers. We do have kilometers up here, indicating to us that we're done with this part of the problem. we're not fully done yet because we have kilometers up here and hours down here. We don't want kilometers and hours. We want kilometers and seconds. So our first step is done. Now let's go from hours to seconds. Okay, so we do have our hours on the bottom over here. So we have to think about this. How do we actually cancel out our hours if they're in the denominator, in the bottom? So if we put hours on the bottom over here, well, we have hours on the bottom, hours on the bottom. Do those actually cancel out? No. Hopefully that's what you're saying and you agree with that. But if we have hours on the bottom and hours on the top, then they will cancel out. It's the same strategy. It's the same method that we're doing, but we just have to think about how our units will cancel out. We have hours on the bottom, so therefore hours will be on the top. Those two will cancel out. And keeping in mind, once again, we're going to go from hours to seconds, and so we have hours over here. Once again, we have hours over here. Does it make sense for us to go from hours to days or hours to minutes, considering the idea that we want to go to seconds? Hopefully you're saying to yourself by now, it makes sense for us to go from hours to minutes using this factor over here. How many hours is it? It's 1 hour is equal to what? 60 minutes. Our hours will cancel out, leaving us with minutes, but we don't want minutes, we want seconds. So therefore, we're coming back over here and looking at which ones have to do with minutes. These two over here, and we see that we have our minutes and seconds over here, so it would make sense that we're dealing with that. Once again, we have our minutes on the bottom over here, so how do we cancel out our minutes? Hopefully, you're saying we want the minutes on top. So our units will cancel out. And so once again, we have how many minutes is it? It's 1 minute is equal to what? 60 seconds. Our minutes on the bottom will cancel out with the minutes on top, leaving us with seconds. And that's our goal. That's what we're trying to actually get. So we do, that's our indicator that we're done with this problem. Keeping in mind that once again, we do have our kilometers and seconds. Those are the only two units that we do have on this entire problem over here. If you're looking at all the numerators, all of our units are gone except for the kilometers. If you're looking at all the denominators, the only units that actually remains is the seconds. So that's our indicator that we're done with this problem. All we have to do is plug this in the calculator to get our answer, which is our 0.0036 kilometers per second. And that's what 8 miles per hour is equal to. Okay, so let's hop down to problem number 11. And this is a word problem. Hey, you know what? It's, the most confusing part about this is actually just looking at the units. But, okay, so we have a velocity of a rocket required to reach space is 7.9 kilometers per second. Let's convert this into miles per hour. That's what mph actually is. I know that we said before that m is referring to meters, but in this context, mph, that's referring to miles per hour. So that's the tricky part of this, which is the reason why I included this problem in this worksheet, is basically to stump you up. Hopefully you do know that mph is miles per hour, and a lot of people here in the United States would recognize that, so hopefully that is something that you're used to seeing. Okay, so once again, we just have here our 7.9 kilometers per 1 second. Our strategy, once again, is we're going to go from kilometers to miles, and then from seconds to hour. So this is just the same thing over here. We have miles per hour, we have miles per hour. Okay, so let's just do that. Let's go and let's convert our units from kilometers to miles. So we know that our kilometers is going to be the first thing that we want to cancel out. So where on here do we actually see kilometers? Hopefully by now you're seeing it right there. So keeping in mind that we're going to go from kilometers to miles. So we could go from kilometers to meters, and then hopefully you're kind of thinking to yourself, maybe we could go from meters to feet, and then feet to miles. That's kind of like that's the path that we're going to be taking here. If that was a little confusing, I apologize, but that's kind of like that's the path that we're going to be taking now. So we have kilometers. We're going to be dealing with this one. How many kilometers is it? It's 1 kilometer, and that's equal to what? That's equal to 1,000 meters. Our units cancel out, leaving us with meters, but once again, we don't want meters, we want miles. So, indicating to us that we're not done with this problem just yet. And which facts over here have to do with meters? This one, this one, this one, and this one. Hopefully by now you're actually saying to yourself, it wouldn't make sense for us to use that one, being that we actually just use that. And does it make sense for us to go from meters to centimeters, meters to millimeters, or meters to feet, considering the idea that our goal is to actually get to miles? Hopefully you're saying to yourself, hey, you know what? I do know the idea that miles is US United States system measurement, and same thing with feet over here. So that's our nice little clue that we're actually going to go from meters to feet. Okay, so if we have meters down here, how many meters is it? It's 1 meter, and that's equal to what? 3.28 feet. Okay, so once again, we have our cancellation, and now we're in feet. But once again, we don't want feet, we want our miles. So, coming back over here, where do we have feet? We have feet, 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 and feet, and we have feet and miles. So hopefully by now you're actually saying that we're going to be dealing with that one. How many feet is it? It's 5,280 feet is equal to what? 1 mile. Units will cancel out, leaving us with miles. Ooh, look at this. That's our goal, so we know that we're actually done with this part of the problem. Okay, so looking at this right now, on the numerators, the only units that we have right now is miles, and if you look at the denominators, the units that we have is seconds, but we don't want seconds, we want hours. Let's just go through and continue this. So, once again, we have seconds in the bottom. How do we cancel out our units of seconds if they're in the bottom? We want the seconds to be on the top in the numerator. So, where do we see on here that we have our seconds? Hopefully we see that right there. And does it make sense for us to go to seconds to minutes? Yeah, you know what? Because our end goal is to actually get to our hours. So, how many seconds is it? It's 60 seconds is equal to what? 1 minute. Cancel out our units over here, and we're left with minutes. We're not happy with minutes. We want our hours. So once again, we're just going to be looking at this, saying that, hey, we have minutes here, hours here. That's going to be clearly the fact that we're going to be using. And how do we cancel out if we have our minutes on the bottom? Well, we want our minutes on the top. And we have our 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour. So our units will cancel. We have this canceling out with that. And once again, we hit our goal of actually getting to our hours. We have our hours right there. And if you look on the top, in all the numerators, we have our miles, all the denominator units, we have our hours, indicating to us, hey, you know what, we completed this problem. Once we plug in this into the calculator, we should be able to get this answer right here. Okay, so at this point, I want you to pause this video and try this problem on your own. This video is getting a little long, so I'm actually just going to cut this short right now, and we'll continue in the next video.